Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we've got some Volvo news. The Volvo EX30 has been pushed back in China, the launch at least. It says that the US deliveries are still on track. Volvo's cheapest EV, the Volvo EX30. This vehicle was expected to begin rolling out by the end of the year, but that's not going as planned. Volvo is pushing back the launch of the EX30 in China until 2024. Although EX30 orders are expected to open in China last month, the electric SUV will not be on sale until after the new year. The new compact electric crossover was pulled from the North American Cars, Truck and Utility of the Year award Monday, as reservation will not be opened by the deadline. The EX30 was one of the three finales of 2024 Utility Car of the Year, alongside the Kia EV9 and the Genesis GV70. The EX30 will be replaced by the Hyundai Kona Electric. Meanwhile, Volvo Cars US spokesperson Russell Daz confirmed that EX30 deliveries in the US will begin in the summer, as previously expected. So it looks like there will be no markets that will be getting the EX30 this year. It looks like that is fully planned for next year. And this is what's really incredible with Volvo. They're bringing this new vehicle to the market, the EX30, but they're also bringing the EX90, the big body SUV. That's the fantastic family size SUV. But I do love the EX30. It's one of those electric vehicles that I genuinely look at and I'm like, I would get this because it's affordable, it's compact, but it's also a large enough vehicle to be very suitable for an everyday use. Russell Dowes told Auto News, "We wanted to be fully transparent with the deadlines. Volvo said in October that the EX30 production began in the third quarter, with the first deliveries in China expected in Q4. Earlier this month, we reported that Volvo sold the first 33 EX30 models in November, which were likely wholesale units to dealers or to test models. Meanwhile, Volvo will also build the EX30 at its Ghent factory in Belgium due to strong early demand. So this is fantastic. This vehicle is also being built in Belgium in Volvo's factory. The site will serve as a production base for Europe from 2025. Did you hear that? That site in Belgium will serve as a production base for Volvo from 2025 onwards. But they're starting with the EX30. Volvo calls the EX30 a cornerstone of its EV plans at $34,950, including $1,195 shipping. It will start at one of the most affordable EVs in the US. But most importantly, I do believe Volvo wants to make these vehicles in the US. That way the tax credit can be applied. That way customers can even get these vehicles at cheaper prices, which would be fantastic. The electric SUV will be available in two powertrains with the 275-mile range and the single-motor extended range variant. A twin-motor performance at $44,900 will be the quicker Volvo vehicle yet, with a 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds. That is phenomenal, and this is something that we've seen from Volvo and Polestar quite commonly. Recently, the best performing, most highest performing in terms of speed. So with this vehicle being recently released, it's perhaps Volvo's most highly performance when it comes to speed car. That is an electric car, at least. And it's surprising because Polestar did the same thing. When Polestar released the Polestar 4, it is considered the fastest Polestar to be. And both vehicles are in a similar category. They're sort of like a crossover SUV. However, the EX30 looks far more like an SUV than the Polestar 4. The Polestar 4 has a very difficult time convincing people that it's an SUV. That's mostly because it doesn't look like an SUV. It looks like a sedan that's just has a lot more room, to be honest. If anything, the Model Y looks more like an SUV. But nevertheless, when you consider interior space, cabin capacity, then if you're comparing the Polestar 4 with the Model Y or with the EX30, you might as well call it an SUV because of cabin space. Due to cabin space has really been explored in the Polestar 4 and they've delivered on that as such. But it's only when we get these vehicles in person that we'll really be able to compare them against each other. And given that Volvo is bringing out the EX90 and EX30 next year, the media will be talking about these vehicles all year round. But wait, it doesn't end there. The media will also be talking about the Polestar 4 and the Polestar 3 all year round. They're both being released next year as well. However, what's unique is that the Polestar 4 has already started sales in China. Now, here's a really strange question. The Polestar 4 was meant to be an SUV. However, it is modeled after the Zeekr vehicle platform. Now, I've got no problems with that. But if Polestar wanted to give us this true identity of an SUV, why didn't they use the platform of the EX30 to make the Polestar 4? Then it would look more like an actual SUV, and not to mention, it can look like a smaller version of the Polestar 3. Now, Polestar is known as a premium brand, and your first impression might be thinking, well, it doesn't want to dilute its brand value. Polestar has a credible brand value, and they want to build a brand value similar to Apple, similar to Porsche. But if I remember correctly, Porsche does the exact same thing. Porsche has the Macan and they've got the Cayenne. Two SUVs. One is large, with the Cayenne, and the smaller one, the Macan, beautiful car, is the smaller version. But they look very similar except for size. So if Polestar did the similar thing with the Polestar 3 and called it the Polestar 4, the baby SUV, I don't think it would damage the brand perspective, especially if they can do a good job and make it look different. And I think Polestar is able to make vehicles look different even when they're based on the same platform as another vehicle. You look at the Porsche Taycan and the Audi e-tron, they look different, but at the same time you can see some similarities. Now, in my opinion, with the Polestar 3 and the Volvo EX90, they do not look similar at all. These vehicles could not look further apart than you could ever expect, and yet they're built on the same platform. So I think Polestar could have built a vehicle on the EX30 platform. In fact, they should. They really should, because I really love the Volvo EX30. You know what would make me love this vehicle even more? If it had a Polestar badge. If the exterior looked like a Polestar. Let's be honest, the exterior does not look like a Polestar. It looks like a Volvo. But if the exterior looked like a Polestar, I'd be like, wow, yes, give me that little wing at the front. If the interior looked like a Polestar, I'd be like, yes, this is what I'm expecting. There's always an option for Polestar to make a car using the Volvo EX30 platform. I don't know which platform the EX30 uses, by the way. I don't think it's the EX90. I could be wrong. What if they're all using the same platform? What if the EX30 is actually using the EX90 platform, which is the same platform the Polestar 3 is built upon? Then it would be even more bizarre, considering that Polestar didn't use this platform to build the smaller SUV, the Polestar 4. I really like the Polestar 4. But exterior, I prefer the EX30. Interior, I would probably take the Polestar 4. So it's really interesting. But the technology within the Polestar 4 is also incredible. The amount of cameras that they have on that thing, the design philosophy is completely different. Now, despite its small size, Volvo expects big results from the EX30. The electric SUV is aimed at an entirely new market for Volvo in younger buyers with a fun, tech-loaded ride, and who can pass the Scandinavian design for under $35,000. That's incredibly cheap. So I think you get the point. I'm a huge fan of this vehicle, and I'm okay with Volvo delaying it. When Volvo delayed the EX90, I was okay with that as well, because I understand this level of business. They need these vehicles to be perfect. If they can avoid any recalls, any flaws, they want these vehicles to be at the best in terms of build quality. These vehicles will be a staple for the Volvo brand. These are fully electric vehicles where Volvo will stamp its mark on the electric world. So yes, they need to be perfect, and I'm okay with the delays. And I think others should be okay with the delays as well. That's it for today's video. Thank you for watching, subscribe, and I'll see you in our next video. Peace.